close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture this. It is Tuesday morning, but you are not commuting.
Hmm.
You are not squeezing onto a train or, answering urgent emails before you've even had coffee. You are waking up in a master suite with floor-to-ceiling glass. You walk out onto a private terrace. The air is warm, thick, with that distinct tropical scent of salt and jasmine. And right there is your own infinity pool, glass smooth, overlooking the Andaman Sea.
Ah,
You are in Phuket, Thailand, and this villa. It's yours.
it is a compelling image.
Yeah.
It really is the ultimate exit strategy fantasy that I think about half the workforce is holding on to right now.
It is the dream.
Whoa.
But, and there is always a but on this show. We have to talk about Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
Yeah, the morning after you sign the deed, the morning after the real estate agent hands you the keys and, drives away. Because keeping that dream alive, keeping the pool blue, keeping the lights on, and keeping the tropical jungle from physically reclaiming your living room, that takes work.
And it takes serious capital.
It does.
It certainly does. It's the distinction between buying a lifestyle and managing an asset. A lot of people conflate the two, and that's where the trouble starts.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the reality of maintaining a luxury villa in Phuket. We're stripping away the marketing gloss to look at the nuts and bolts of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the legal structures that can trip up foreigners, the hidden tropical tax on maintenance, and the logistics of managing a property from, 6,000 miles away.
And we have excellent source material to guide us today. We aren't just pulling this from travel blogs. We're drawing insights directly from Ocean Worldwide.
Oh, right.
They're a luxury real estate agency that's been based right there in Phuket since 2004.
That date is significant, 2004. That means they've seen the market through the post-tsunami reconstruction, the global financial crisis, the pandemic. They've seen the boom and the bust cycles.
Precisely. They've seen it all. And specifically, we're looking at the expertise of Sandra O'Neill. She's the director of the agency. She's helped thousands of families and investors navigate this exact market.
So this is boots-on-the-ground reality.
This is not theory. This is from someone who deals with these logistics every single day.
That is exactly what we need. So let's get right into it. I'm ready to move to Thailand immediately. My bags are mentally packed, but your job today is to make sure I don't lose my shirt doing it. Let's start with the cold, hard cash.
Let's do it.
The sources mention a concept called the hidden price tag. I think most people calculate the mortgage, maybe a bit of tax, and think they're done. What are we missing here?
You're missing the cost of operation. Ocean Worldwide suggests a very specific rule of thumb for budgeting here. They recommend you budget an additional 1 to 2% of the property's purchase price.
Annually.
Annually.
Just for running costs.
Just for running cost.
Okay, let's contextualize that. If I buy a luxury villa for, say, $1 million, you are telling me I need to set aside $10,000 to $20,000 a year just to keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
That feels high compared to a standard suburban home in the US or UK.
It is higher, and for good reason. You aren't just maintaining a house, you're fighting the environment. But let's break down where that money actually goes. The biggest variable in your monthly budget, and the one that catches most new owners off guard, is electricity.
Why is it such a variable? Is energy just that expensive in Thailand?
It's not just the unit cost, it's the usage profile. I mean, in a tropical climate like Phuket, air conditioning is not a luxury. It's life support.
Right.
The data shows that electricity bills can run anywhere from 5,000 to over 15,000 Thai baht per month.
That is a massive spread, 5,000 to 15,000. What accounts for that difference?
It depends entirely on how you live and, the efficiency of the villa.
Yeah.
If you're cooling a large, open-plan villa with glass walls 24/7, and you have older AC units, you're going to hit that upper limit easily. Plus, think about the pool.
The pool.
You've got pool pumps running 8 to 10 hours a day just to keep that water circulating.
I hadn't even thought of the pumps.
It's a constant heavy electrical draw that people just forget to factor in.
Right.
Exactly. Now, water is generally cheaper, around 500 to 1,500 baht.
Right.
But here's where it gets interesting technically. You have to check the source.
The source.
Does the villa use a private deep well, or is it connected to the municipal government supply?
And which one do I want?
Well, ideally, municipal is more reliable. But many of these high-end villas are in the hillsides where they rely on wells.
Ah.
So if you're on a well, you are responsible for the pump maintenance, and there's a risk in the dry season, usually March and April, of the well running low.
That changes your cost structure and your stress levels significantly.
Totally. It's a detail that would never appear in a glossy sales brochure. Warning, may run out of water in April.
Which is why due diligence matters.
And then, of course, you have the internet. Fast speeds are readily available, usually costing between 1 and 2,000 baht. The infrastructure in Phuket is actually excellent in that regard.
It's become a digital nomad hub for a reason.
Right.
For that exact reason.
Okay, so utilities are significant, but you mentioned fighting the environment. I saw the term tropical tax in the notes. What does that refer to?
It's the cost of entropy. In a tropical climate, nature acts fast. You have high humidity, intense UV radiation, and rapid plant growth.
So the jungle is literally trying to take the house back.
It really is. You cannot just mow the lawn once a month. You need professional gardeners. And you need pool maintenance.
That private pool isn't self-cleaning.
Not at all. You're looking at chemicals, chlorine, or salt and cleaning services that cost about 2,000 to 4,000 baht a month. If you skip this for 2 weeks in that heat, your crystal clear blue pool turns into a swamp green biology experiment. That is a visceral image.
It happens faster than you think. Then there's pest control. Termites in the tropics are aggressive. Regular spraying and soil treatment are just non-negotiable.
So this 1% to 2% budget isn't a rainy day fund. It's an active operating budget.
Correct. And we haven't even touched on insurance.
I assumed standard fire insurance would cover it.
Fire is one thing,
Mm.
but you need contents insurance for your belongings. Here's the kicker. If you're planning to rent the villa out, which many buyers do to offset these costs, you need specific landlord insurance.
And how does that differ from just standard homeowners insurance?
It covers public liability. If a tenant slips by the pool and sues you, you need coverage. It covers accidental damage by tenants.
Because vacationers can be clumsy?
Exactly. And crucially, it covers loss of rental income if the property becomes uninhabitable for some reason, like a flood or a major repair. It's all about risk mitigation.
It sounds like the key takeaway here is that you aren't just buying a house. You're essentially running a small boutique hotel.
That is the perfect analogy. And a hotel requires cash flow.
Okay, moving on to the section that usually scares people, or at least confuses them, the legal side.
The boring but critical stuff.
I know Thailand has some specific and quite strict rules about foreigners owning land. Can we just walk in and buy a house like we would in the UK or the States?
No. And this is the single biggest misconception. The short answer is, foreigners cannot directly own freehold land in Thailand in their own name.
Okay, that seems like a deal breaker. How are all these people buying these villas then?
There are two main structures. The first is leasehold. You essentially lease the land for 30 years.
30 years. That doesn't sound like ownership. That sounds like a long rental.
Well, it's a long-term registered lease. It's usually structured as 30 years with contractual options to renew for 2 additional 30-year periods, so 90 years in total.
So you own the building, but not the dirt it sits on.
You own the bricks and mortar freehold, but you lease the land, yes.
And the second option.
The second option involves setting up a Thai limited company to hold the land. But this is a gray area legally, and the government periodically cracks down on nominee structures. It's complex.
This sounds like a minefield.
It can be if you don't know what you're doing. That's why Sandra O'Neill and her team at Ocean Worldwide emphasize the lawyer is non-negotiable. You cannot DIY this.
And what is the lawyer actually looking for? I saw the term shenote in the notes. Sounds important.
The shenote is the Holy Grail. It's the official title deed, the only one that gives you full rights to the land with GPS-plotted boundaries.
So not all land has this.
No. There are lesser titles that imply possession but not full ownership. You do not want to build $1 million villa on a lesser title.
And aside from checking if it exists, what else are they looking for?
They check for encumbrances. Think of it like a credit report for the land. Are there mortgages against it? Are there legal claims or liens?
You don't want to buy a property only to find out it comes with someone else's debt.
That would be a very nasty surprise. They also verify boundaries. Does the land on the map actually match the land on the ground? It sounds basic, but in property law, assumptions are dangerous.
Okay, so besides paying the lawyer, what other costs are there at the point of purchase? I assume the government wants their cut.
Always. You have the acquisition costs. First is the transfer fee, which is typically 2% of the registered value.
Who pays that? Buyer or seller?
By law, it's split 50-50.
Right.
But in the market, everything's negotiable. You need to clarify that in the contract.
Okay, what else?
There's stamp duty, about 0.5%.
Mm-hmm.
And if the seller is a company or has owned it for less than 5 years, there's a specific business tax of 3.3%, and finally, a withholding tax of about 1%.
It adds up fast. We're talking another 3 to 5% on top of the purchase price.
Correct. Which is why that 1 to 2% maintenance rule we mentioned is separate from these upfront costs. You need a comprehensive budget.
So let's say we have navigated the legal maze. We've paid the fees, the schnoid is clean, and we have the keys. Now I have this beautiful home, but I live in London. How do I actually look after it?
This is the management dilemma. You cannot manage a tropical property from Zoom. You can't smell the mold through a webcam.
So what are the options for an absentee owner?
The most common solution is hiring a full-time management company. The source material describes them as the villa's personal assistant.
I like the sound of that. What falls under their remit?
Everything. Sourcing tenants, vetting them, collecting rent, paying the electric bill, fixing leaky taps. If you're not in the country, they are your eyes and ears.
That peace of mind must come at a cost.
Usually a monthly retainer plus a commission on rental bookings. But there is another option. The source mentions newer developments like areas near Blue Tree.
Right, Blue Tree. I've heard of that. The entertainment hubs.
Exactly. Many of these modern developments have on-site management teams integrated into the complex.
Oh, that's convenient. Like a hotel concierge, but for your house.
Similar concept. They know the infrastructure because they often built it. If a pipe bursts, they know exactly where the shutoff valve is. It's definitely something to check before you buy.
And regardless of who does it, the source really emphasizes preventative care.
Yes. In the tropics, you cannot be reactive. If you wait until you see the problem, it's already too expensive to fix.
Can you give me an example, reactive versus proactive there?
Take the air conditioning. Reactive is fixing it when it stops blowing cold air in April. Proactive is deep cleaning the filters and checking refrigerant levels every 3 to 6 months. It prevents breakdowns and keeps that electric bill down.
It connects back to the budget. Maintenance saves money in the long run.
Exactly. Same with deep cleaning. It's not just for aesthetics. It's to fight dust mites and mold spores that thrive in humidity.
Now, what about security? Phuket is generally known as a safe destination, right?
It is considered very safe, yes. But visible security adds value. If you're renting your villa out, tenants, especially families, look for things like gated communities, 24-hour guards, and CCTV.
It's about perception as much as reality.
It provides peace of mind. And if your villa sits empty for months, you want to know someone is watching the gate.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about the house itself, but where should we actually buy? Phuket is a big island.
It is big enough that the location drastically changes the lifestyle and the price point. The micro markets are very distinct.
The classic debate seems to be beachfront versus hillside. Help me choose.
It's the eternal question. Beachfront is the premium choice. It's the postcard. You have direct access, you hear the waves. But you pay a significantly higher price, sometimes double or triple for that.
And I imagine the maintenance is higher too. Salt spray.
Much higher. Salt spray is brutal. It corrodes metal, eats away at electronics, degrades paint. You are constantly battling corrosion.
So hillside is the more practical choice.
The hillside offers what they call panoramic views.
Mhm.
Because you're elevated, you often get a better view of the ocean than you do right on the beach. You get the breeze, it's quieter, more privacy.
That makes a lot of sense. What about the different coasts? I know the West Coast is the famous one.
The West Coast is where the action is. Patong, Kata, Surin. It's tourist-heavy, lots of amenities, nightlife. If you want to be in the mix, that's where you go.
And if I want to escape the tourists?
Then you might look at the South Coast for Hawaii and Naiharn. It's a very expat-friendly, a bit more laid back. Or the East Coast, which is much more rural, a slower pace, more of a local feel.
So what drives the value? If I'm looking at two villas in the same area, what makes one worth more?
Views are the gold standard.
Mhm.
An unobstructed sea view commands the highest price. Period.
Okay.
Then there's the condition. Move-in ready is worth a lot more than needs TLC.
Why is that? In the U.S., fixer-uppers are popular.
Because renovating in a foreign country where you don't speak the language is a nightmare for most buyers. People will pay a premium to avoid that headache.
I can see that. I don't want to be negotiating tile prices via Google Translate.
Exactly. And finally, amenities. Infinity pools are standard, but things like smart home tech and modern Western-style kitchens are becoming high-value indicators.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The lifestyle. Let's talk about actually living there. Walk me through the purchase process, from I like it to I own it.
Sure, it starts with a reservation. You find the villa, agree on a price, and you sign a reservation agreement and pay a deposit. Usually around 10%.
Is that refundable if I change my mind?
Usually. No, that's a serious commitment. It takes the property off the market.
Okay, so I better be sure.
Then you move to the purchase agreement. This is the detailed contract where your lawyer earns their fee. Then the payment schedule, and finally, the transfer at the land office.
Now, here's a misconception I think a lot of people have. If I buy $1 million villa, do I automatically get to live in Thailand forever?
No.
Yeah.
That is a very common myth. Buying the house does not equal a visa. The immigration and land departments are two completely different government
So
bodies.
I could own a house I'm not even allowed to stay in.
Theoretically, yes. You could own it, but only be allowed to visit on a 30-day tourist visa. You need to secure a long-term visa separately.
That seems like a major hurdle. What are the options?
There's the retirement visa if you're over 50 and meet the financial requirements. There are investment visas, or the most popular for younger buyers is the elite visa.
The elite visa, is that some kind of VIP club?
Sort of. It's a program where you essentially pay a membership fee to the government for a long-term residency permit of 5, 10, or 20 years. It comes with perks like airport fast tracking.
So you're buying your right to stay.
Essentially, yes, it simplifies the bureaucracy immensely.
And what about families? Is this just for retirees and wealthy bachelors?
Not at all. The demographics have shifted. The infrastructure in Phuket is now massive. There are high-quality international schools and private hospitals. It's a very viable place for families.
It sounds like a complete ecosystem now, not just a holiday island.
It is. But integrating is key. The source touches on this. Learning basic Thai, engaging with local markets. That's what enhances the experience from tourist to resident.
It sounds amazing, honestly. But it's clearly a complex process, not something you do on a whim after a couple of margaritas.
No. If we summarize what we've learned, owning a villa is a mix of romance and rigorous logistics. You have a romance of the view, but you need the logistics of the 1 to 2% maintenance budget.
And you need to secure that Chinook title.
Exactly. It really highlights why expert advice is so important. You can't just wing this.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to our source. If you're serious about this, you need guidance from people who've been doing it for decades, like Ocean Worldwide and Sandra O'Neill.
They know where the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking.
We'll put a link to their website, oceanwwp.com, in the show notes. They have market insights and obviously a lot of listings if you're ready to start window shopping.
And before we go, I want to leave the listeners with a thought.
Go for it.
We talked about location. Ask yourself this. Are you buying a villa for the life you have now, or are you buying it as an asset for a future market?
Well, that's interesting. Explain that.
Because the perfect location for a 2-week holiday, right in the middle of the nightlife, might be the wrong location for a long-term resident who wants peace and quiet.
Right. If you plan to retire there in 10 years, buying in Patong might be a mistake.
It might be. You might want the East Coast. You have to buy for your future self, not just your current vacation self.
That is a great perspective. Markets change and your needs change.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I am going to go look at some infinity pools online and dream a little bit.
Just don't forget the maintenance budget.
I never will. Thanks for listening to The Steep Dive.
See you next time.